Let me ask you something. And I want you to answer honestly, not for me, but for yourself. When was the last time you checked in with your body, not because something was wrong, but to make sure something was still right? When did you last pause, not to react to pain, but to recognize strength? Stability? Clarity? For most men I talk to, the answer is, I don't remember, and that's okay. Because you were taught to be tough. To push through. To ignore discomfort, keep moving, and only speak up when it breaks. But let me tell you something, man to man, that mindset is why most men miss the moment their health starts to change. See, decline doesn't show up with sirens. It shows up quietly. Not being able to open a jar like you used to. Waking up more tired than when you went to bed. Feeling nothing, not sad, not excited, just flat. Losing strength in the legs or control in the bathroom and thinking, well, maybe it's just age, but here's the truth, it's not just age. It's rhythm. It's missed signals. It's going too long without checking in. That's why I created this video. Not to scare you. Not to sell you a supplement. But to offer something most men never get, a simple, grounded, honest checklist, not from a lab, but from real life. A senior wellness checklist built for men like you, not to micromanage your health, but to help you reconnect with it. Because when you can name something, you can change it. And when you can track something, you can own it. So today, we're not going to talk about symptoms. We're going to talk about signals, the kind your body sends every day, if you're willing to listen. This isn't a doctor's checklist. This is a man's checklist. For presence, not paranoia. For clarity, not confusion. For power, not panic. Let's start with the first question on your daily list, the one that sets the tone for everything else. How do you feel in the morning? Not just whether you're awake, but whether you're ready. That's where we begin. Let's go there next. Let's talk about something I see far too often. A man walks into my office, late 60s, early 70s. Decent shape. Not sick. Just not himself. He says, "Doc, I don't know what's going on. I feel slower. My sleep's off. I'm not as sharp. But I thought I was fine, until I wasn't." And then comes the real reason he's sitting across from me, not the fog, not the fatigue, but something bigger, maybe a small stroke. Maybe an unexpected fall. Maybe a sudden loss of energy that scared him more than he wants to admit. And when we look back at the signs, they were always there. Just ignored. Because here's the truth, and I say this with full respect, most men wait too long. Not because they don't care. Not because they're careless. But because they've been trained, taught, and praised for powering through. For decades, they've been the rock. The provider. The fixer. And now? They don't know how to check in with themselves without feeling like they're being soft. But let me tell you, checking in isn't weakness. It's wisdom. And it might be the one thing that prevents something worse. Let me tell you about Mr. Leonard from Florida. 69 years old. Retired electrician. Still active, still sharp. Felt fine, by all his standards. He wasn't in pain. Wasn't on meds. Just a little tired here and there. He ignored the fact that he had to nap every afternoon. He brushed off waking up twice every night. He didn't think much of the fact that his hands weren't as steady. And then one morning, he couldn't feel the right side of his face. It was a mini stroke. And thankfully, he made a full recovery. But he told me later, "Doc, if I had just paid attention to how I was changing, maybe I could have caught it sooner." That's what this checklist is for. Not to make you worry, but to help you notice. Because disease doesn't shout. It whispers. And if you can learn to catch the whisper, you don't have to wait for the scream. So before we dive into the actual checklist, I want you to remember this. You don't have to wait until something's wrong to give your health your attention. You just have to care enough to listen before it's too late. Now let's get to the first item on your checklist, the one that most men overlook, but tells you almost everything about your rhythm, your morning energy. Let's take a closer look. Let's start with the most honest question on the list. How do you feel in the morning? Not, are you alive? Not, did you sleep 8 hours, but do you feel ready? Clear? Capable? Morning energy isn't just about how much sleep you got. It's a snapshot of your entire system. Your brain. Your hormones. Your circulation. Even your emotional resilience. And the first 30 minutes after you wake up? That's when your body is telling you what kind of day it's about to have. Here's what to ask yourself every morning, no scale, no blood work, no guesswork. Did I wake up before my alarm? Was my mind alert, or did it take an hour to feel like I existed? Do I feel like I could take on something, or do I want to sit in silence and avoid everything? If you're regularly waking up feeling drained, heavy, or emotionally flat, that's not just age. That's a disrupted rhythm. And that rhythm can be repaired. Let's break down what morning energy actually depends on. Small diamond 1. Cortisol rhythm. You've probably heard of cortisol as the stress hormone, but early in the morning, cortisol is your activation switch. It's supposed to rise naturally before sunrise, to help you feel alert, focused, and ready. If your rhythm is off, from late nights, erratic eating, poor sleep, that rise doesn't happen. You wake up foggy. Stuck in neutral. Small diamond 2, nitric oxide and AMP, circulation. Overnight, your blood pressure dips. Your vessels relax. But they need a wake-up signal to start expanding again. That signal comes from movement, hydration, and light. Without those, blood flow to the brain stays slow. And you feel it, in your legs, in your thoughts, in your mood. Small diamond 3, testosterone pulse. Yes, testosterone plays a role in strength and intimacy, but it also impacts morning motivation. That drive to do something, to move, to care. Your testosterone naturally pulses higher in the morning, but only if your body got the nutrients and rest it needed the night before. No protein? Poor sleep? High blood sugar overnight? That pulse weakens. And so do you. Checkmark morning checklist. What to track? Did I drink water within 15 minutes of waking? Did I get light movement within 30 minutes? Did I eat a protein-rich breakfast? Did I feel emotionally grounded or emotionally distant? You don't have to rate it with numbers. Just be aware. The more patterns you spot, the more clearly you'll see what's helping and what's holding you back. Cyclone, what to do about it? Here's your reset recipe. Warm water first thing, 1 full glass, light movement, shoulder rolls, side stretches, or a 5-minute walk. Breakfast with protein plus fat, 1 egg, half an avocado, or a scoop of yogurt. Natural sunlight. At least 5 minutes near a window or outside. One of my patients, Mr. Carl, 72 from Nevada, told me after trying this for a week, "Doc, I didn't change anything big, just those first 20 minutes. And somehow I felt like I'd re-entered my body." That's not magic. That's biology, responding. Your morning energy isn't random. It's the report card your body gives you after every night. And if you start listening to it, instead of ignoring it, you'll stop missing the signals that actually save your strength. Now let's look at another overlooked signal, one that tells you more about your brain, heart, and immune system than most people realize: digestion. That's next. Let's talk about something no one wants to talk about, but every man over 60 should be paying attention to: your digestion. Specifically, your bowel movements. And before you shrug this off, let me tell you why this matters. Your gut is more than just a plumbing system. It's where over 70% of your immune system lives. It's deeply connected to your brain through the vagus nerve. And it plays a massive role in your mood, circulation, sleep, and even testosterone. So when things are off in your gut, they're off everywhere else, too. The problem is, most men stop noticing. Or they've been irregular for so long, they just assume it's normal, but it's not. And ignoring your gut is like ignoring your dashboard lights while driving uphill. Small diamond, what should you be looking for? Here's what healthy looks like. You're going once a day, almost every day. It feels complete and easy, not rushed, strained, or uncomfortable. You don't have to plan your day around it. There's no pain, cramping, or bloating regularly, and honestly, it doesn't surprise you. It happens with rhythm. If that's not happening, your body is giving you information, not just about your digestion, but about your hydration, your inflammation, your nervous system, and your hormones. Small diamond, why it slows down after 60. There are a few reasons. Dehydration. As we age, we lose our thirst signals, so we don't drink enough. Reduced fiber intake. Many men eat less produce, nuts, and whole grains. Low movement. Sitting too much slows the entire digestive system. Medications. Blood pressure pills, pain meds, and others can cause constipation. Cortisol imbalance. Chronic stress reduces gut motility and disrupts microbiome health. Check mark daily checklist. Digestion. Ask yourself, did I go today? Was it easy, complete, and not painful? Am I drinking enough water, especially in the morning? Am I eating at least one food high in natural fiber, like oats, berries, or leafy greens? Have I eaten something fermented in the last few days, yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut? You don't need to obsess over it. You just need to become aware. Because your gut is a mirror, and it always reflects what's going on inside. Cyclone. What to do about it? Start simple, hydrate early. 1 to 2 glasses of water within an hour of waking. Eat more fiber-rich foods. Chia seeds, oats, apples, broccoli, leafy greens. Add probiotics naturally. Plain Greek yogurt, kefir, or fermented veggies. Move your body. Even 10 minutes of walking can stimulate gut function. Cut the sugar. Processed carbs and excess sugar inflame the gut lining. One of my patients, Frank, 75 from Illinois, told me, "Doc, I thought I was just stiff and slow from age. But once I got my gut moving again, my whole body felt lighter, mentally and physically." That's not coincidence. That's your core system starting to sync. So don't ignore this part of the checklist. Because when your digestion improves, your circulation, mental clarity, mood, and even your sleep tend to follow. Now let's move on to another part of the body that often gets misunderstood, not your gut, but your nights. Because if your sleep feels shallow, broken, or disconnected, the next checklist item might explain why. Let's go there next. Let's talk about something every man over 60 complains about, but very few actually track: sleep. Not just how long you sleep, but how deeply you rest. How restored you feel when you wake up. Because let me be clear, you can lay in bed for 8 hours and still feel exhausted. Time in bed is not the same as quality sleep. So here's the real question for this part of the checklist. Are you sleeping, or are you just lying down unconscious? Let's break it down with 3 simple questions. How many times are you waking up at night? Once is normal. Twice or more is a signal. Do you fall back asleep quickly, or do you toss and turn? If you're wide awake at 2 a.m., something's off. When you wake up, do you feel clear or already tired? Your first 30 minutes of the day tell you a lot about your night. If you're answering yes to broken sleep, don't brush it off as just part of getting older, because the truth is, deep, uninterrupted sleep is how men rebuild. Small diamond: why sleep quality declines after 60. Here are the most common reasons. Melatonin production drops. Testosterone stops repairing overnight due to lack of protein before bed. Blood sugar spikes at night from alcohol or heavy dinners. Magnesium and zinc deficiencies quietly disrupt sleep cycles. The nervous system stays in fight or flight, never settling into deep rest. And guess what? If you're not sleeping well, it affects everything else. Circulation, focus, mood, immune function, hormonal recovery, even prostate health. Checkmark. Sleep checklist. What to track: how many times did I wake up last night? How long did it take to fall back asleep? Did I go to bed feeling wired or relaxed? Did I eat anything within 2 hours of sleep? Did I get any screen-free, low-light time before bed? These may seem like small details, but they add up. Because sleep is where the real healing happens. Cyclone: what to do about it? Let's get practical. Here's your nighttime repair ritual. Light protein snack 1 hour before bed. 1/2 cup cottage cheese or Greek yogurt with a few pumpkin seeds. This supports testosterone and muscle repair. Overnight tart cherry juice 4-6 ounces. Natural melatonin booster helps regulate sleep cycle and inflammation. Screens off. Lights dim 30 to 60 minutes before bed. This helps cortisol drop and melatonin rise. Warm shower or 5 minutes of quiet breathing signals your nervous system it's time to power down. My patient Ray, 68 from Oregon, told me, "Doc, I wasn't even aiming to fix my sleep. I just changed my evening routine like you said, and after a week, I was waking up before my alarm. I forgot what that felt like." That's not accidental. That's restoration, finally allowed to happen. If you're skipping this part of the checklist, you're skipping the one thing that holds everything else together. Because sleep is where strength is built. It's where testosterone is released. It's where memory resets. And it's where the next day actually starts. Next up, let's talk about what happens when your energy's decent, but your mood and motivation still feel off. Because that's not just getting older. That's another signal worth listening to. Let me ask you something, and don't overthink it, just answer honestly. When you wake up, do you feel a sense of purpose, or just another day to get through? Because here's what most men over 60 don't realize. Lack of motivation isn't laziness. It's biology. It's often the result of slow circulation, low dopamine, and a body that's out of rhythm. And if you've been waking up flat, dragging yourself through the day, feeling irritable for no reason, you're not alone. But that doesn't mean it's normal. Small diamond: what's happening under the surface? As men age, several things start to shift in the background. Lower dopamine levels, right pointing arrow, less drive, joy, and follow through, poor blood flow to the brain, right pointing arrow, brain fog and mental fatigue, testosterone decline, right pointing arrow, lower confidence, emotional flatness, chronic low-grade inflammation, right pointing arrow, irritation, short temper, restlessness. None of these show up on a scale. But you feel them. Like walking around with your foot on the brake, even though the road is clear. Small diamond: why most men dismiss it? Because it doesn't feel bad enough to treat. Because it doesn't come with a diagnosis. Because they were taught to power through emotional dullness, as if it's just a phase. But let me be clear, when your mood is unstable, your motivation disappears, and your spark goes quiet, that is not just age. That's a system that's asking for support. Checkmark. Mood and amp. Motivation checklist: what to track? Ask yourself, do I feel emotionally flat more days than not? Do I get irritated easily over small things? Do I wake up with a clear sense of what I want to do, or just float? Do I avoid things that used to give me joy or purpose? When's the last time I looked forward to something in the day? These questions aren't about judging yourself. They're about noticing. Because men who pay attention to their emotional shifts often catch physical problems early. Low testosterone, sleep disruption, cardiovascular decline. They all show up first in your mood. Cyclone what to do about it. The goal isn't to force happiness. It's to support the biology that helps you feel present, engaged, and purposeful again. Here's your reset plan. Get sunlight within 30 minutes of waking. Natural dopamine and serotonin booster regulates circadian rhythm. Move your body. Even for 5 minutes, increases endorphins, revs up blood flow to the brain, helps calm irritability and tension. Eat protein plus healthy fat in the morning. Fuel your neurotransmitters. Egg plus avocado or Greek yogurt plus nuts equals simple, effective. Connect with someone every day. A phone call, a conversation, a handshake. Oxytocin rises. Cortisol drops. Your nervous system relaxes. Write one thing down you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be deep. It just brings your attention back to life, instead of the fog. Mr. Samuel, 70, from Pennsylvania, once told me, I wasn't depressed. But I didn't care about much either. You told me to step into the sun every morning and call my son once a week. After 10 days, I laughed again. I didn't even notice I'd stopped laughing. That's the power of reconnecting. And no, it didn't come from a pill. It came from signals. Real, biological signals that said, you're still here, let's live like it. So the next time you feel off, don't brush it aside. Track it. Support it. Rebuild your rhythm from the inside out. Because mood isn't mental. It's physical. And it can change. And now, let's talk about the final item on the checklist, the one most tied to how strong you feel, how confident you move, and how alive your body stays. Strength you can feel. We'll cover that next. Let me ask you something simple, but powerful. Can you stand up from a chair without using your hands? Can you balance on one foot for 10 seconds? Can you open a stubborn jar without asking for help? These may sound like small things, but they tell a much bigger story. They tell you if your muscles, your balance, and your circulation are still working together the way they should. As a doctor, I've seen too many men wait until they've already fallen, already lost strength, already hit a moment of fear, before they realize what they lost. But here's the good news, you don't need a gym. You don't need a personal trainer. You just need to start noticing the strength markers you can feel every day. Small diamond. Why strength declines after 60. After 60, here's what naturally begins to shift. Muscle mass decreases, sarcopenia. Testosterone dips, balance reflexes weaken, protein absorption slows, inactivity becomes a habit. But all of this is adjustable. You don't need to reverse time, you just need to rebuild rhythm. And the body responds faster than most men expect. Checkmark strength checklist. What to track. Here are 3 simple ways to check in with your strength each week. Chair test. Can you do 10 slow, controlled squats from a chair without using your arms? Do your legs shake or feel weak by the 6th or 7th? Balance test. Can you stand on one leg for 10 seconds without holding onto anything? Try both sides. Notice differences. Grip strength test. Can you comfortably open a jar or carry groceries? Does your hand feel strong when you shake hands or press into the floor? None of these require special equipment. But they give you real, honest data about how your body is aging. And more importantly, how it can recover. Cyclone. What to do about it. You don't need 45-minute workouts. You need 5 to 7 minutes of focused movement, consistently. Here's a daily mini routine that builds strength, balance, and blood flow. Morning reset circuit. 10 chair squats, 8 to 10 wall push-ups, 15 calf raises, 10 seconds balance hold. Each side. Pair that with a protein-rich breakfast, eggs, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt. Hydration right after waking. Light exposure to reset hormones. This signals your nervous system, your testosterone, and your muscles. We're still using this body. Keep it strong. My patient, George, 74 from Arizona, started this routine after losing confidence on the stairs. After 3 weeks, he told me, I caught myself singing while walking again, because I wasn't afraid of falling anymore. That's not just strength. That's freedom. So ask yourself, what if you could measure your health, not by blood pressure or lab results, but by how confidently you stand, move, and carry your own life? That's what this final checklist item is all about. Now, let's bring it all home. Because once you've tracked these 5 areas, the next step isn't more tips. It's a mindset shift. A final reminder that you don't have to guess anymore. You just have to check in. Let's wrap it up. You've made it through the checklist. Not a test. Not a lecture. Just a set of honest questions between you and your body. And maybe for the first time in a long time, you didn't ignore what it had to say. You listened. You noticed. And that's more powerful than you think. Because you don't need to become someone else. You don't need to chase youth or fix everything overnight. What you need is rhythm. Awareness. And a willingness to check in before something breaks. The truth is, most men aren't falling apart. They're just drifting, slowly losing connection to signals they used to feel loud and clear. Signals like, I'm rested, I'm grounded, I'm strong, I still care. If those signals have faded, they're not gone. They're just waiting for you to listen again. So here's your real assignment from today forward, don't guess. Just check in. Every morning, how's your energy? Every evening, how's your sleep? Each week, are you moving strong, thinking clearly, feeling connected? You don't need a doctor to run this test. You just need a little intention, and a whole lot of self-respect. And if this checklist gave you clarity, even just one insight that hit home, then don't keep it to yourself. Comment, checked, below. Let me know which part spoke to you most. Or tag a man in your life, a brother, a father, a friend, who might be drifting silently without even realizing it. Because health after 60 isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. And this checklist? It's how you start. Thank you for showing up. For noticing. For being the kind of man who still believes his health is worth his attention. You don't have to wait for a crisis. You don't have to fight the clock. You just have to check in. That's how strength stays. That's how clarity returns. And that's how you live well, right where you are.